IOI Plantations is a subsidiary branch of IOI Corporation Berhad. Palm oil plantations are IOI's biggest income generator. It is headed by Executive Chairman Tan Sri Lee Shin Chen. As of 2015, about 67% of the conglomerate's profits came from its oil palm plantations. The group controls 230,000 hectares of oil palm plantations in Malaysia and Indonesia. Unethical issues in IOI Plantation Berhad. Issue: irresponsible water resource management. Kampong Long Taran Kanan does not have piped water supply from the state's water system. The community of Long Taran Kanan rely on water supply from nearby water sources. Being the primary source for potable water to the community, the catchment for the intake point becomes an environmentally sensitive area by default. Most of the water catchment area has been cleared and planted with oil palms. At the water intake point, gravel deposits as a result of IOI's land clearing activities in surrounding areas have resulted in a shallower stream that feeds the community reservoir. Why? What will happen? Why? Cleared and planted with oil palms and does not have piped water supply from the state's water system. What will happen? Effect on the villagers. Water source was destroyed and villager need to work to ensure the inlet that feeds the community's only reservoir remains free-flowing. Soil erosion. IOI has planted these oil palms on this steep 36.42 degrees slope. However, some areas are unsuitable, but this has not prevented IOI from continuing operations in the area. Why and what will happen? Why? Slopes more than 25 degrees and steeper are considered high-risk erosion areas and cannot undergo replanting. What will happen? Soil erosion, which due to human activities such as forest clearing and so on. Soil erosion is result of erode the soil, which can lead to a balance of disturbed ecosystem and cause the tree to topple, make the animals and plants lose their habitat. Issue: poor road maintenance. According to the villagers, IOI had promised to assist with road repairs during a meeting with community, but they failed to do so. Why? What will happen? The quality of roads has deteriorated as heavy machinery and trucks have been heavily used in the planting process. This potholes, uneven surfaces may lead to accumulate water and flood. How IOI overcome the issue? Guided by the RSPO principles and criteria. Agrochemicals are used in a way that does not endanger health or the environment. Practices maintain the quality and availability of surface and groundwater. Containers are labeled correctly, stored properly in an area that can be locked. The containers are constantly under-supervised. The mixing area has cement flooring. Practices minimize and control erosion of soil. Open and transparent methods for communication and consultation between growers or millers, local communities and other affected or interested parties. Mutually agreed and documented system for dealing with complaints and grievances, which is implemented and accepted by all parties. In 2008, IOI Group's plantations in Kalimantan started deforestation and drainage of peatland and clearance of forested orangutan habitat. Why and what will happen? To produce palm oil in large enough quantities to meet growing demand, destroying remaining forest and wildlife along with new agriculture. Smoke and haze, releasing enormous quantities of CO2 into the atmosphere. Negative impact on the livelihoods of people. In April 2016, IOI Group lost its certification from the RSPO after failing to comply with certification requirements. The IOI Group's share price consequently dropped 7% as 26 customers, including major brands Unilever, Kellogg and Nestle, cut supplies sourced from the IOI Group. Ethical theories to the environment. Kant and deontology could be seen as anthropocentric, have duties towards rational beings, but his ideas about animals are surprising. You cannot have goodwill unless you show value for the world and non-rational beings for their own sake. Utilitarianism. Balancing short-term pleasure for long-term pain. Nature does not have intrinsic value in itself. Shift of anthropocentric focus. Not why environmental preservation is good for humanity, but how to be an environmentally good person. Behaving unethically. 1. Failing to realize that the Kalimantan orangutan species are in fact conscious. 2. The destruction of natural drainage caused low-lying areas become waterlogged. 3. Human rights abuse by IOI plantation, during land acquisition and plantation development. 4. Decreased forest cover, soil erosion, declining water quality and quantity. The Sustainable Palm Oil Policy. To accelerate the journey to no deforestation, the conservation of high-carbon stock HCS forests, high conservation value HCV forests, and the protection of peat areas regardless of depth. To build a traceable and transparent supply chain. To respect the rights of employees in the palm oil industry, indigenous peoples and local communities. To increase the focus on driving beneficial economic change and to ensure a positive social impact on people and community. Agrochemical Management Policy. Only chemicals approved by the Malaysian Pesticide Board are used in our operating units. Hazardous tasks and work process impacts are identified and mitigated accordingly. A safe work procedure is established for all the tasks. Action is taken to reduce hazardous exposure. Conduct health surveillance program for our employees. Policy commitment. For existing plantations on peat, appropriate management using best management practice. Where areas are identified as unsuitable for oil palm replanting, based on drainability assessments or other reasons, plans will be developed for the appropriate management of such areas, which could include rehabilitation. Enforcement of IOI Group's no burning policy. New strategy by adding commitment for new planting 2017 onwards. Additional commitment for new plantings. No development of peatlands regardless of depth, and protection of peatlands through water management and fire prevention. Develop a plan for peatland management and protection for the landscape in and around our 4 Ketapang concessions. Commit to using the HCS approach for our last wholly unplanted concession, KPAM. Commitment to developing and implementing best practice on peatland remediation, restoration. Develop and implement a fire prevention and rapid response program. The peatland management plan will be an important factor in mitigating fire risk. Thank you.